Throp here again. As you're probably hearing, Jamaica is on an unprecedented economical tear, and I know many people are interested to learn how they might be able to buy property in Jamaica, move here, or even start a business. Enter Thropex. This is my annual Jamaica investment conference hosted at Travelers Beach Resort in Negril, Jamaica. If you're even considering moving to or investing in Jamaica, this is the best low-risk opportunity to do your due diligence and network with the very people driving the country forward. This event brings together a group of hand-picked, trusted, top-of-their-field individuals, the best developers, contractors, real estate pros, lenders, and government partners, all under one roof to help you make your move. This is very much an action-focused premium conference experience geared towards empowering you with the tools and team necessary to create your Jamaica dream. We've partnered with the Tax Administration of Jamaica to help you get your TRN and even open a bank account, all conveniently located on conference property. One of the most popular parts of the conference is the real estate tour. It's the best way to understand Jamaica's real estate market, seeing and experiencing properties firsthand so you can compare apples to apples. Another incredibly valuable part of the conference is the people you will meet. Attendees have been some of the most dynamic, inspiring individuals I have met doing incredible things with their lives. As always, this year will be fun, educational, and actionable, giving you the tools, insights, and connections to invest, build, and move to Jamaica. For more information, please visit thropex.com and join our mailing list. Happy Sunday, everyone. Got a late one tonight. Night show. Sometimes it's how it goes. But I was going to put it off until I was going to put today's stream off until tomorrow night. But I'm traveling tomorrow. I'm like, man, do I want to kick the can down the road, so to speak? And I don't want to miss a stream because I'm missing Thursday's stream. I will be at a conference, so I will not be live streaming this Thursday. But I figured, let's do Sunday anyway. I know most people are probably going to catch this on the replay because this is way outside of my normal time and I didn't give any notice, but it was just one of those days. Show must go on, right? Show must go on. But thank you all for joining this evening, and thank you all for joining on the live stream. Of course, please let me know what city, what state, what country you're chiming in from, whether you're here live with us or you're catching us on the replay. I think it's just so incredible to bring together people from all over the world to this community. All right, so as you may see from the title and thumbnail, we basically got two things that we're talking about today, and we probably have less than an hour because I have a meeting at the top of the hour. And just again, one of those days, Thropex and everything going on, just got to get as much packed in the days as possible, and we'll be going burning the midnight oil tonight. This just, again, happens. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is the Negril Roundabout, which I feel like we talk about, like we've been talking about for like the past 4 weeks, 6 weeks. But again, this is the topic that people are talking about here in Negril. And it's just so visual of like the failure of the project so far. And it's also been in the newspapers. When I say the news, it's like on the nightly news. It's been in the national newspapers as well. And also there's a piece of video that we're going to watch together shortly that was put out timely just a few hours ago by Negril Times YouTube channel, which I always encourage you all to subscribe to them because they're doing great journalism over there and really keeping up with what's happening in Negril and giving Negril a voice. So let's go. And then the second thing I want to talk about is due diligence. And this is something that I always talk about, and in terms of advice that I continuously give. And it's just one of those things we always want to give reminders about the importance of doing due diligence, especially and particularly when investing or considering to invest in Jamaica. So we're going to just harp on that probably the second half of the show. And as you know, Thropex is next month. I can say that now. Thropex is officially next month. Crazy. Time is flying. Tickets are also flying, which is amazing. It's just crazy. Really, thank everybody for buying their tickets, and everybody's buying them early. We are way ahead of last year for sure. I was even I was at I guess we could go through a couple of updates as well, even though I want to get to these subjects. But there was a new restaurant opening yesterday. Well, soft opening. It was Sid's on the Rocks. This is at Coral Sea. So this is the hotel conversion that was done a couple of years ago at Thropex. And one of the owners of the units, she has also taken over the restaurant aspect of the property, and it is gorgeous, beautiful. I should bring up pictures, and I'm instead of me. Let me see if I could bring up their website. And it was just like a really beautiful experience and vibe that they have there. Uh, I'm on their website, but you can't really get a good feel. All right, let's see if we can go to their Instagram. See if that helps. And I could already tell from last night's experience or yesterday evening's experience, like it is going to be like the new Negril spot. I'm telling you right now. I'm calling it right now. Okay, got the Instagram here. All right, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, let me just show it to you real quick before we get into today's agenda. And I'm just like excited to have just another amenity asset in the grill of this nature. And it's not officially open. The soft opening is this Saturday coming up, the 11th, and then the official opening is sometime in November. I can't remember, but as the information comes out, I'll remind everybody. And if you're in town, it'll be it'll be nice to catch that. All right, here we go. All right, this is the website. It sits on the rock, so you can take a look. Beautifully done signage, cool vibe, very like Sandro Pay type vibe. And this is their Instagram. All right, that's the like the architect's rendition of what it's going to look like. But for the most part, a lot of this is done already. Let me show you some actual photos. Maybe my story might be on here. Hold on, let's see if it is. Yep, there we go. My story. You have seen me post about this before. It's my first time actually being here. I've only seen pictures and a few videos, and really, really beautiful. Really, really awesome job. Let me show you the vibe real quick. The sound looks lovely. No, it's okay. It's great. You guys get the idea. One of those places, pretty cool. Really, really awesome, and I think the grill is going to receive it beautifully done. And then also other things happening in Grill. There was the Skylark Film Festival, which was amazing. It started on Thursday. I only could make it to one night, which was last night, which was a lot of fun. And it is an annual film festival that they do at Skylark on the beach here in the Grill. And it's a ton of I was going to say local filmmakers, mostly local filmmakers, Jamaican filmmakers, but also there's international filmmakers as well that come and attend it. And I thought it was just very, very well done, like beautifully done. And it was just such a great community event, free event. Anybody can go and show up and watch movies for free, buy drinks, have some food, enjoy yourself. And it was great. And it's just a great time to be in the grill for Skylark Film Festival. Just like a great vibe, especially like during this like slower period. I think it's like perfect. But yeah, that's kind of like an update. So anyway, my point ain't even how this came up is like I was talking with somebody yesterday about we were talking about Thropex, and they were like, "Hey, how come you never advertise Thropex, or I'm not seeing anything on Thropex?" And it's like so true. We still haven't really done anything advertising wise. We've put out I think a press release went out. I haven't even seen it actually in newspapers or anything like that. But press release went out last week, but again, like nothing, no Instagram, like nothing, no advertisement at all. This is just all community, and I just love that that's what it is. And I could already tell that like this is going to be a very, very rich Thropex, not because just because of the panelists who are going to be speaking, and the real estate tours that we're going to be going on. But it's like the people, because the majority of the people coming is the core. Because again, if you are not on these live streams, you don't know Thropex exists. I'm telling you, like, that's what it is. If you're not here, you're not catching the replays, there's no way you don't have any idea that this is happening. And I just think it's just so cool that just how organic and pure that this year's build has been, and it has gone along those lines, which I didn't initially plan. It's just that's just kind of how it's been going. So, shout outs to you all, everybody who's purchased their tickets and continue to purchase your tickets. And if you have any questions as we lead up, I'm getting a lot of inquiries about virtual tickets, a lot of inquiries about real estate tours. Please feel free to reach out go to thropex.com. You can do events at thropex.com. Do events at thropemedia.com, excuse me. And you can sign up for our newsletter mailing list at thropex.com, and you'll get the most up-to-date information happening with that. All right. We are in limited time here, so let's get to the subject at hand. So what we're going to do is we're just going to watch this video real quick. And like I said before, this was put out on Negril Times. That's the YouTube channel. So I'm going to throw that in the comment section there, so you all can go visit them and also subscribe. All right. And let's do it. Let me know if you can hear it. You should be able to hear it.
We should make sure that the grill is clean.
All right. I'm not fast forward. I'm going to speed up the time a bit. I'm going to do 1.5x. If it's too fast, let me know. But just some context here. This is the Prime Minister when he was here in August, as you can see below, and he was campaigning, and he was downtown Negril giving a presentation.
And the people of Negril who are listening, we will commission a totally new plan for Negril. So I tell you, new roadway, new water supply system, new urban center. But the town in general needs a facelift.
Good evening, and welcome to Negril Times. Tonight, we revisit a story we first carried last November, the long-promised Negril Roundabout beautification project. Back then, many stakeholders in the resort town had expressed some serious doubts about TPDCO's ability to execute based on the organization's antecedents. 11 months later, every single thing they warned about has come to pass. The Negril Roundabout, the very first thing you see when you enter the town square of this world-famous destination, now looks more like the scene of an abandoned 18th century graveyard than a symbol of destination assurance. Yes, a graveyard. Because TPDCO, in what must be their most creative move yet, has literally wrapped the roundabout in black mourning cloth. Now the question on everyone's lips, is this TPDCO's new marketing strategy? Did they think black funeral cloth would boost tourism? Or is this their way of assuring visitors that Negril is dead and buried under bureaucracy? The irony is painful. On July 21st, during a destination assurance tour, TPDCO's quantity surveyor, Javed Christie, proudly announced that the project was 50% complete, while senior tourism officials strutted around, smiled, beamed, and grinned from ear to ear. But fast forward to October, and all the people of Negril are seeing is rubble, frustration, and black cloth. The contractor reportedly absconded, leaving the roundabout in tatters. TPDCO's glossy smiles have now turned into public embarrassment, not just for the agency, but for the entire government of Jamaica. From Prime Minister Andrew Holness right down to the most junior employee, this has become a national eyesore and a public...
So I just wanted, oh wow, super loud in my headphones. So I just wanted to pause real quick just to build a little bit of context here, and just so we understand like why people are so frustrated by this. Like, this is the center of Negril. You know, this is, if you're going downtown, you're going to the West End, this is right smack dab in the middle. And this is supposed to be a representation of our community. And it's been like this for months, and it is just, it's just ridiculous. And, you know, there's just honestly just no excuse for it. Just absolutely no excuse for it to be like this for this long. And people are extremely frustrated by it. And I think people, and I think rightfully so. And even now it's still like this. And I'm in these chat groups, and officials are telling us, hey, it's going to be in the chat groups where we're being told, hey, it's going to be done on Monday. Or this is happening on Wednesday. and it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. I don't know if they're lying. I don't know if they're inept. I don't know if they've bitten off more they can chew, but it just continues to be this saying one thing and nothing happens, or saying one thing and another thing happens, like over and over and over again. And then this is just a really clear and present example of that. And like, this is where the frustration is coming in. It's just like, man, come on, like, yo, do your job kind of thing. So I just wanted to bring a little bit of context there as we go through the video.
Disaster. Remember, this was a simple project, not a highway, not a bridge, just a roundabout with flowers, lighting, and maybe a Christmas tree. Even that seems to have turned into a year-long comedy of errors. Mrs. Elaine Bradley had warned TPD Co. last year to stop wasting time and money on unnecessary soil testing. Bougainvillea grows anywhere in Jamaica. But instead of blooming flowers, Negril got blooming frustration. Just a month ago, while in Negril, Prime Minister Andrew Holness confidently declared that he would fix Negril during his third term in office. Yet the third term has barely begun, and already TPD Co. is publicly embarrassing him with their bungled handling of the Negril roundabout. If this is how they manage a simple project, one can only wonder how much more damage and embarrassment they might cause if tasked with overseeing other major plan developments in the resort town. Mrs. Bradley had said it couldn't take longer than March. She had pushed relentlessly for action, reminding TPD Co. that $20 million was already allocated, the hardscape design approved, and the Chamber of Commerce ready to take over planting and maintenance. She even had the permanent Christmas tree waiting in a pot, but instead, it seems TPD Co. planted embarrassment. Tonight, the Negril community is calling on Prime Minister Andrew Holness himself to step in, because clearly, TPD Co. needs reining in. If a simple roundabout has turned into a national disgrace, how can anyone trust them with destination assurance?
So this is kind of going back to what I was saying a few weeks ago about, I don't know if this is true or not, but this is definitely the way I feel. Like, Negril is the home to the most unfinished projects in Jamaica. And the Negril Roundabout is one of them. The fruit and vegetable market is one of them. The Negril Beach Park is one of them. The shared user path is another one of them. And these are like projects that should have been done literally years ago, and they're just not done, stagnant, stalled, just not going anywhere. And so the author of this video, narrator, journalist, I think the point that they're making and the concern is the concern of like, man, if you can't do this, what's going to happen with all of these other big projects that are coming that the Prime Minister was talking about in the opening scene. And it is concerning, you know, and you're just like, you got to think, what types of measures are going to be put in place for these future major projects that are coming to Negril, and how are we going to avoid the history of evidence that has shown the incapability of the powers that be to successfully complete these projects. And if I'm sitting in these seats of if I'm these decision makers and I'm hearing this and I'm seeing this, and it shouldn't be thinking shouldn't be, oh, I'm different, or it's going to be different because I'm here, or like, no, I don't think that should be the thinking. The thinking should be, it's like, how can we avoid at all costs of falling down into this hole that has happened over and over and over again in Negril? And that should be the mindset. That should be the approach, in my humble opinion, because it's very, very clear that projects do not get completed in Negril. And like, in my mind, like, and you can see very, very clearly that is the history, right? And so this is what the community is concerned about, because this is what our lived experience has been.
Negril, which contributes nearly 30% of Jamaica's tourism earnings, deserves better than black cloth and empty promises. So, Prime Minister, the ball is in your court. Or should we say, the roundabout is in your circle. We'll keep watching, because this beautification project has become the biggest joke in town. Only no one in Negril is laughing.
That's already begun. So if I tell you, we're going to cut the debts, we did. If I tell you, we're going to cut crime, we did. If I tell you, we're going to cut unemployment, we did. And if I tell you, you will have your roads and your water, because the Jamaica Labour Party manages the economy well and has the resources, with competence and capability to deliver these public goods that you need and services. It will be done. And the people of Negril who are listening, we will commission a totally new plan for Negril. So I tell you, new roadway, new water supply system, new urban center. but the town in general needs a facelift. And while we are not proposing to go and trouble anybody's individual building, we are prepared to work with the proprietors of property, along with the local municipal authority, to ensure, one, the town is clean. As a tourist town, we should make sure that Negril is clean, always. Number two, this is not a typical all-inclusive tourist town. And we don't want Negril to become an all-inclusive tourist town where the tourists lock up in the hotel. We want Negril to be the town where the tourists can easily. And what this means is that we must be doing this for tourists. We must be doing it for you. We need to put in the proper sidewalks so people can walk seamlessly without having to contend with traffic. We can put up beautification along the sidewalk. We must have a proper transportation center, as I've said before, and that will be done in our new urban center. So the people of Negril have great confidence that the Jamaica Labour Party government is thinking about you and your town, and will do everything necessary to ensure that Negril is returned to the pride of place as the tourism town of this region.
I'm gonna pause again for a second. So I do want to, like, my personal position is obviously I'm just as upset and disappointed and embarrassed as anybody living in Negril and who calls home Negril their home as to what's happening with the roundabout, right? But at the same time, I do believe that everything the prime minister is saying, like, it's coming, and that there is going to be some major changes in Negril within a very few short years. I think it's very, very important, though, to have these conversations now because it speaks to the structure of how things are done. It speaks to the structure of the process of these projects, at least in this part of the country. And if we don't accept what the lived reality is or what the reality has been, and we don't accept that the mistakes and major, major mistakes have been made in the past, then we'll never be able to learn from them. We'll never, and we have to be critical of ourselves and also others and learn from that, or else we're going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I know there's like, so much ego that goes into a lot of this stuff. And at the end of the day, like at the end of the day, the people of Negril, people of Jamaica are the ones that end up suffering. And so these conversations are very, very, very important to have. And what I've seen, particularly in these chat groups and these forwarded messages from officials, is like literally lip service. It's like they just say things to make you feel good in the moment, but then when it comes to the action, it's like nothing. And it's just like, when you do that, like, why would people believe you? Why do you think people will believe you the next time that you say something or the next time you make a promise? It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And so again, like I said, I very much do believe what the prime minister is saying. Like, all these projects, the water projects, the urban center, the cleaning up of the Negril, the sidewalks, like, it has to happen. And on the other side of that coin is, like, in the has to happen pot, let's say, is we are, as a community, as a town, like, we're going to become uncompetitive. And I feel like we're like almost heading in that direction if we don't have this revamp. And I was talking to, like, even at the film festival, there's a lot of young Negril entrepreneurs there. And I'm realizing, and then even going to Sid's on the Rocks, like Sydney's new restaurant, it's like, man, I really feel like it's going to be the young people that are really going to have to turn this town around. And I'm not saying that the people who are in charge now of, like, the chamber, JCA, and everything like that, most of them I call and consider my mentors. But I feel like more young people need to be involved in these organizations and really taking the bull by the horn in pushing Negril forward, and I was in the chamber from when I was like the Chamber of Commerce in Negril from probably when I was like 22 and did minimum 10 years, more than 10 years, I would say. And I thought it was just like very, very important to be a part of these organizations and to have a voice and to have people and organizations and sometimes even the government at that time know the challenges that we're facing in the grill, that I'm facing as a hotelier, or even hear my ideas, especially as a young person, to because it's like in a way, I'm helping create the future that I'm going to live in as a young person, especially back then. And so even now in 2025, young people, young entrepreneurs, especially in the grill, it's just like, man, we just got to be a part of this and push things forward. And like we have great ideas. They have great ideas. And when I say young people, I'm talking about, young entrepreneurs in their 20s, early 30s type thing. And I think it's important to like have that energy put into it. And then even with all these new big projects coming in to Negril, I think being a part of that process is important. Also looking and scrutinizing, not necessarily pointing fingers at the process, but like if there's better ways to do it, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's explore it. As far as like, the management of these projects and who's in charge and how it's going to get done, man, that it's concerning. It's concerning. There's eventually, I'm sure, I'm confident eventually it will get done, but how long, at what cost, that sort of thing. That's where I'm like, man, I understand, and I stand with the people who are extremely frustrated by all of this. Anyway, let's finish up the video. Yeah.
Competence, a man of character, diligence. To give him your support, I endorse him to you, and I recommend that you vote for this man at your next vote. This election is about two things. This election is about two things. The first, it is about a promise. The second is about performance. If they are going to come or they have come and promise everything, but you have no performance to back it up. Me and the political party I represent, I don't make promises. I make commitments. And you can take what I say because you are seeing what I have done. We have done quite a bit. There's still much more to be done. I humbly ask for your support for me to continue to do the work in your behalf.
All right. And that's that. So like I said before, like I think a lot of these projects are going to happen. The Negril Roundabout will be figured out, but it's just like why are we going through all this? What is this? And I saw somebody in the comments talk about accountability, and what are the consequences that these people suffer, And I think whether it's the contractors, whether it's TPDCO or whoever's managing the project, like who gets in trouble for this? Who really is going to suffer some sort of consequence from all this? And it doesn't seem like anybody. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. I have no idea what happened in those organizations or with the. I think the contractor got fired, but whatever it is, like there has to be high level accountability through and through with all these projects. Let's get to some comments quickly because I gotta go in 25 minutes before, and I want to get to our next subject as well. Let's see comments. What's going on, Joe? Joe says, I feel like politicians will be politicians, so it's up to the community to push and don't let up on the gas. Yes, the young people need to lead the way. Agreed. And therein lies the problem with Negril, is that it is so heavily reliant on the community and community organizations. And it goes back to not having a singular representative of Negril going to bat for us. Because again, going back to the Westmoreland Hanover splits, even still, it's like that has in my mind that has nothing to do with this situation, right? But this is just a poorly managed project at the end of the day, like just poor, and then unbelievably embarrassing. Nobody cares about the excuses. Nobody cares about, hey, you said this, you said that. Like at the end of the day, like we're the ones suffering down here. You know, I don't know where this contractor is from. I doubt they're from Negril. There's no pride in this. There's no sense of urgency. There's no sense of ownership in something like this. Hey, my name is on this. My brand is on the line. I cannot fail. Like there's none of that. They don't care at all. They don't care. They just don't care, because to me, it's just like this should be, and as all projects that are just so public facing, is like this job needs to get done no at whatever cost, you know, and like not financially cost, but I'm talking about like I have an obligation, like, and it's my responsibility. Like I need to make sure that this gets done in a timely fashion, and people are depending on me to do this. And it's just a incredibly poor leadership on behalf of like whoever again is in charge, and who the contractor or whatever. And I know there's finger pointing like crazy, but we don't care. You know, we don't care, honestly. And why should we? Again, going back to the community, it's a lot of this, the voices that you hear are the Chamber of Commerce. And as I said before on previous streams, talking about community and particularly business owners and particularly like hotel owners, is like we're doing our jobs. We are investing in our businesses. We are investing in our hotels. We are upgrading our hotels. We are making sure to the best of our abilities and the resources that we have available to us, that when guests come to our properties, that they have an enjoyable time in a facility that is of international standard. And of course, the service meets that as well. And we're doing our jobs, you know, and there are a lot of hotels that are doing their jobs, and we are investing heavily into our properties and doing our best. And it's just not being complemented by the environment around us. And you heard in the video that they're almost 30% of the revenue of tourism comes from Negril alone in Jamaica. And that is a disproportionate amount of money and revenue that's coming from this little small town when you compare it to the large meccas of like a Montego Bay, a Kingston, and Ochi, right? And even a larger a larger delta is created when you look at the difference in terms of the amount of money going into those respective tourist towns compared to Negril, right? And we just it's not getting it. I mean, and you can see it. You can see like, man, there's no money going into this town. There's no care going into this town. And as a prime minister said, that Negril needs a facelift. And without a facelift, like the town isn't going to be competitive. It's going to continue, are going to go more into the route of people choosing, say, places or particular hotels to go to because they're nice and they're being kept up to date and they're modern and the service is good and the food is good, as opposed to going to a destination. And, you know, take that with a grain of salt, because we have a top 10 beach, top 20 beach in the world continuously ranked. And of course, that's a big part of why people come here. But nonetheless, you need a town that complements that. And, you know, you need reinvestment into the community. All right, let's keep going here. Nixon Brown says that politics was a campaign strategy. The election is over. It's only going to get worse. Hanover and Westmoreland gone orange. now they put on the back burners. I really hope that that's not the case. And, I said this before, but I hope that that is the politics of the past. Jeff Rogerson, what's going on? What's wrong with the contracts tendered? Are contractors being paid in advance? Is there no accountability? Great questions. I know there is like some sort of procurement process and also a vetting process for these contractors. I don't know the terms. I don't know if they stuck to the terms. And this is what I'm saying. Like the process should be looked at. Like something went horrifyingly wrong here. And trust me, if we are not saying anything, nothing happens. That roundabout is as it is. Like if people weren't making and are like the noise that we're making now, forget about it. It would be a beach park. It would be a beach park that's sitting there closed, shattered for 6 years or whatever, 7 years, whatever it is at this point in time. It would be the fruit and vegetable market that has been just there, leveled, nothing happening for years at this point now. You don't make noise, nothing happens. Jay Fitz, what's going on? Says, why would anyone use the same incompetent people to do other larger projects when they have demonstrated they can't successfully execute on the completion of a small project like the Roundabout? I think that's a very fair question. I think that question should be answered very, very directly by the people who are put in charge of these projects, because I have serious concerns. And I think anybody observing this scenario would have serious concerns. This is like me and my like if this happens in any private sector situation where you have a contractor coming in or somebody who's in charge of a project and they do something like this, there's no way I'm going to bring you on for a brig, like the expansion of my hotel, or I'm putting up a new building. You're gone. Get out. And like, in no way am I recommending you. My friends aren't going to hear about you. It's over for you as far as I'm concerned. But this is a different kettle of fish here. But I think fair and great questions there, Jay Fitz. Nicola says, it clearly shows no one is being held accountable for these projects. So it begs the question, who reports to who, is responsible to ensure these projects are completed in a timely manner? Great questions. Great suggestion. Great suggestions. Taylor Bell says the problem is we are on USA time constraints and the island is on island time. Projects don't get done in a timely manner. Yes, I mean, obviously it's not getting done in a timely manner, but this is just completely unacceptable. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, yes, the mindset needs to change. The mindset needs to drastically change. Let's see, we get a few more comments coming in here. Metro Atlanta Real Estate says, I'm curious, when the current party is in power and have big plans / promises for a particular area, do they have to go through the opposition party for that area to get projects done, projects completed? Yes and no. So I'm not an expert on this, but I know a lot of it has to go through the local planning authority. Almost everything has to go through the local planning authority, and also the destination something. I forget the acronyms. But yes, it's yes and no at the end of the day. Fitzroy Williams says, I'm a construction project manager. The contractor always take the blame for projects that are late or over budget. However, the blame comes back to the owner client. If yes, Metro Atlanta says, if yes, then these are the things that people of those communities are to hold their party accountable for supporting. If not, then they should know what to do when it's voting in next election. Fair enough. James Apple says, last time I checked, it's top 3 in the world of beaches in Negril via TripAdvisor. There you go. Garth Adrian says, Morton Bay mayor made sure the roundabout was built. Fitzroy Williams, most clients have a Toyota budget and want a Ferrari, especially public projects with various stakeholders. Metro Atlanta Real Estate says, if no, then I think we already read that one. Garth Adrian says, who's the roundabout accountable? No names. Yeah, there are names. I don't know what sort of disciplinary actions are taking place or will take place. But yeah, it's bad. It's really, really bad. Shauna says we need a Jamaican version of an Angie list for contractor. I think this is a great. I can't believe nobody has started this in Jamaica. I think that's a great idea. Great idea. Donna Bryce says the contract should contain a clause that if not completed on time, the contractor pays a penalty. I think that there is like a portion of the contract is held back, the fees, like a percentage is held back until completed. Maybe more of that needs to be held back. I'm not sure, but I think what we're all saying here, a lot of us are saying here, is like the process needs to be looked at again. It needs to be assessed. Justin D says corruption usually holds all public projects hostage. Shauna says our thumbtack for reviews of people who've used their services and vetted streamlined process to ensure quality service and accountability. I think this is a great idea. All right, we got less than 15 minutes. I gotta hop on a call after this, but wanted to bring you guys up to date on what's happening in Negril with the Negril Roundabout. But I do want to get into like just what I was saying earlier before, more of a reminder of folks. And is this also time? It's kind of in line with what you're saying here, Shauna, about having some sort of, and like I think about this with my friends, like having some sort of database, yes, for people and services that people are looking for, but then also I would say like taking power back into our hands as individuals. And I'm talking more so on the investment side. And next topic I want to talk about is along the lines of due diligence and encouraging you all out there who are considering to invest in Jamaica and invest in different projects to do your due diligence on these projects. And I will never stop saying this and advising people and reminding you all to do your due diligence on different development projects that are happening in Jamaica. And I look, and I've said this before, I look at the last year in Jamaica as the year of failed or severely delayed real estate developments. And yes, I know there are a lot of great developments that have opened up this year and ribbons have been cut and fantastic, and people are moving in and families have new homes, and that is all well and beautiful. But at the same time, there have been so many, and we've talked about many of them, that these developments are years and years late and years still under construction, 3 years behind. People not moved in, not have gotten their titles, not been able to have a home that they've paid for and put their money down and taken out mortgages for. And this has happened through blatant corruption in terms of these projects failing and stalling. This has happened through also a crazy amount of just ineptness, and just people just not having the ability they just don't know what they're doing, at the end of the day. And that's happened with a lot of these projects that we've discussed. And as I always say, is you're always, remember this, you're always betting on the jockey, not the horse. And that has to be a very, very big part of your due diligence. And I don't care what size project that it is, or the development, or anything, or even the house being built. It's at the end of the day, it's the leader, it's the person who's going to be doing this, and that's who you have to have immense trust in. And you want to be able to, I think it's very, very important, especially before you transact any sort of money or anything, any finances, is asking the hard questions, and if you're going to a developer, or if you're about to give this person $100,000, $300,000, $500,000, $1 million, right? you want to ask these very, very tough questions. And I think it's also important, again, speaking about like empowering ourselves as investors, I think it's also important to understand who we are, who you are as a person, and who you are as a person who's going to invest. And what I mean by that is if you're a person that like you just don't like having uncomfortable conversations and you don't it's not in you to ask the hard question or to chew glass, so to speak, to get to the bottom line of the answer that you really need to have in order to make an informed decision. You should know that about yourself. I think that's very, very, very important. I was having a discussion with my friend about this very same topic. And I think in situations like this and in the whole know thyself mindset is like, I think having a good partner, like a good husband, a good wife that compliments you, right? And you could be the opposite. Maybe you are that person that is ready to just rumble and ready to negotiate and ready to just have those tough conversations, and that's where you thrive. And maybe your partner needs to be like, "Oh, honey, you need to chill. Like you're going too far." Like that sort of thing. Like the yin to your yang, and like it just made me think, like, man, it's just great to have somebody who's just opposite of you or different from you that can compliment you, especially going into deals like this. Because I see a lot of couples go into different development deals and I see the balance in going into these negotiations and going into these deals. And so anyway, I think again, going back to the empowering oneself, it's like understanding who you are as a person and understanding how that might be or could be detrimental to going into a negotiation or into going into an investment, and just knowing this about yourself and then figuring out how you put things in place to counter or see this happening before it does happen, because it's like, I hate having those conversations. I don't want to ask that question. It may make them feel awkward, or they may get defensive. You're like kind of preempting what might happen that did never happen in the first place. But you need to have these questions answered. So I think that's important. I also think in asking the hard questions and seeing how that person and seeing how that developer reacts to your questions, are they calm? Are they go crazy because you're asking them these hard basic questions? Do they get defensive? Do they give you excuses? Are they just BSing you straight up and they just kind of just telling you what you like to hear to make you feel good in the moment? And how they react to these questions, it should be very, very telling. If they get defensive immediately or they start giving excuses, these are very, very, very big red flags. Or if they just don't have answers to just what we may consider fundamental questions, that's cause for concern. That's cause for concern. And you should also never feel I mean, yes, sometimes there are deals that are once in a lifetime deals, but how many deals are once in a lifetime? Most deals aren't. 99.9% of deals are not once in a lifetime deals. And so there shouldn't be this like, I've heard this from subscribers before, like they feel like they've missed out on this. They feel like they missed, like, no, you haven't. You haven't. You haven't. You haven't. And there shouldn't be like this pressure for you to invest in this thing that is happening now. And you shouldn't feel like, oh, it's over. I'll never have an opportunity like this again in my life, or again in Jamaica, or again in Negril. Once this is gone, it's gone. It's not. That's not the situation. And you should never feel that sort of time pressure. And that too should be a red flag. And especially if you're getting that from the developer, or you're getting, you know what I'm saying? They shouldn't, yeah, they're trying to sell you. We get it. I understand, but it shouldn't feel like this pressure. This should be, I always say, like the buying of a especially if you're buying into a new development, this should be this magical feeling of like excitement and like, man, I'm gonna own an apartment, like like the Pinnacle or something, like on the 22nd floor. Like I can't wait, that sort of thing. Or, with Treasure Bay, this is a new tip of the spear type of investment that and development that's happening in Treasure Beach. And I got it. Like you should have this great feeling, And if the developer is pressuring you, are there certain things in place that you're just like, "Oh, I got to find this money. I got to like red flag, red flag, red flag. Um, for Thropex, we're having like Thropex specific deals, which is very different from what I'm saying. So like there are going to be deals that are exclusive to Thropex, but in no way am I pressuring anybody, or is anybody at Thropex going to be pressuring people to buy now or like that is not the vibe I'm trying to create. That is not the type of people and developers that I have partnered with. And I feel like I've done a relatively good job in doing my due diligence in finding these partners, and they are in alignment with the very same spirit that I'm trying to articulate here. And so, as we kind of wrap up in these last few minutes, I can't emphasize enough the importance of doing your due diligence before investing in these developments, because we've talked about so many failed developments this year, so many that they're supposed to be the biggest this, the biggest that, game changer in this area, game changer in that area. And, now those developers being sued by multiple people that were their investors. There are the investors who have been unable to move. Many of them have been unable to move into their homes, and sometimes they've moved into homes and they got things that they didn't pay for. You know what I'm saying? They were just oversold, and they're not living in the home that they were promised. And a lot of this can be avoided if you're able to ask the right questions, if you're able to have the right conversations, the hard conversations with these developers. If they start squirming and they start yelling and getting defensive, something's up. Something's up. 100% something's up. And if they can't answer your basic questions, and before going into these, and I think, and this is why I think it's very, very good to meet with multiple developers and to go on real estate tours like Thropex, because the more experience that you have in the game, so to speak, in interacting with different developers, interacting with different realtors, interacting with different homeowners and sellers, and also even on the buy side, you get like a real sense of feel of what the industry is. And like you'll tend to, I would say, gravitate to certain people, and it's more than likely going to be the professional people. More than likely that are going to be people, and you'll be able to tell and get a feel of it. Like, okay, this is the type of person that's going to get the job done. And like they're not giving me this, all talk and no walk type situation. Like they're going to execute on the project, and because you're going to be able to compare apples to apples. So I got to get ready for this call. You're going to be able to compare apples to apples because you've had that experience, because you've talked to many developers, right? And you're going to be able to see the signs like, okay, this person definitely has no idea what they're talking about. And I think like that's kind of where, that's just a skill that I've built over these years, because I just talked to so many developers, so many homeowners, so many builders, so many contractors in doing this and having this channel. And yeah, you could just, a lot of times you could just, within the first few minutes, you're like, you have no idea what you're doing, do you, kind of thing. But anyway, that's the last of my advice, I would say here. Let's wrap up with some, hold up here. I got 2 minutes. All right, I don't even have time to wrap up with some. Let's see if we get one question. And Nicole says, Throp, I think you should have a list for persons who would want one-on-one consultation. This is great advice. Yeah, I do consultations. Very rarely, but if you're interested, yeah, we can talk about it. I actually next year is looking for to put something like that on the website, because I know a lot of people can use this help. Also, people should know that the most developers are amateur developers. It's not like DR, Horton or Lennar builders in the States where they have been in the game for decades. Fair enough. I think that's a good point. Joe says, I feel like before I turned 40, I was scared to have those conversations, but now I don't care. I kind of now have the battery in my back. It's so same of 41, like same, like I don't care. And you got to have that attitude. Like, I don't care if I piss them off. I don't care if they are offended. I got to get my answers. And if you're not making me feel comfortable, and if you're not helping me to get across the finish line to write that check, then this is not for me, and that should be the attitude that you should be going into this. And you'll have your list of questions that you have to get answered. And then also even set up your expectations for those questions, and the expectations, again, go along the line of the list that I've listed out earlier, of like mad, angry, sad, disappointed, and it's like you kind of don't care about the emotional aspect of it, but you want to get your answer. And depending on how they answer those questions, it's going to tell you a lot. So let me leave it right there. Sorry to keep it so short today, but it's one of those Sundays. No live stream on Thursday. I'm going to be away. I'm going to be at a conference, but we will be streaming on Sunday. You guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday night and have a great week ahead. Thanks for joining. Throp here again. As you're probably hearing, Jamaica is on an unprecedented economical tear, and I know many people are interested to learn how they might be able to buy property in Jamaica, move here, or even start a business. Enter Thropex. This is my annual Jamaica investment conference hosted at Travelers Beach Resort in Negril, Jamaica. If you're even considering moving to or investing in Jamaica, this is the best low-risk opportunity to do your due diligence and network with the very people driving the country forward. This event brings together a group of hand-picked, trusted, top-of-their-field individuals, the best developers, contractors, real estate pros, lenders, and government partners, all under one roof to help you make your move. This is very much an action-focused premium conference experience geared towards empowering you with the tools and team necessary to create your Jamaica dream. We've partnered with the Tax Administration of Jamaica to help you get your TRN and even open a bank account, all conveniently located on conference property. One of the most popular parts of the conference is the real estate tour. It's the best way to understand Jamaica's real estate market, seeing and experiencing properties firsthand so you can compare apples to apples. Another incredibly valuable part of the conference is the people you will meet. Attendees have been some of the most dynamic, inspiring individuals I have met doing incredible things with their lives. As always, this year will be fun, educational, and actionable, giving you the tools, insights, and connections to invest, build, and move to Jamaica. For more information, please visit thropex.com and join our mailing list.